Breaking news.
Hey,
Brock.
what's up?
Not
What's
much.
breaking?
James, Brock. Welcome to the Rebel Scum podcast. Just as we're about to record, this came out. It's not crazy news. It's kind of cool, though. Ram Koda was mentioned in an early script for Rogue One, is reported by JediNews.uk. Ram Koda is from The Force Unleashed video games. He is a blind Jedi.
Right.
Which would tell me he was probably the original draft of Chirrut Imwe.
Yes.
Is what I would suspect. Obviously, nothing is confirmed, but he was in the first draft. So that's kind of cool news.
That's and it's funny when I look at this picture. It's like, oh, is this new? And I'm like, it can't be. It's from Force Unleashed. It just looks really good. It's crazy how similar he looks to Kanan from Rebels.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were
the
to
shoulder
age
pads.
a bit, the shoulder pads, the goatee sort of going, like, no, what do you call it? Ponytail, but,
Yeah.
and he's blind, so it's just like, what?
But he has Ezra's scar.
That's true. So
Well, Dave Filoni pays attention to these things. He knows, so he probably got inspiration from that.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome. But that's so that would have been interesting, like a character from the video game.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool because Andrew Fantasia has a problem with the Force Unleashed because Starkiller is too powerful.
Yeah,
and I feel you could still bring him into canon.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't have to be as powerful if that doesn't make sense.
True.
You change him around to fit the needs of, but maintain who he is as a character.
Because technically, any comics before the Marvel takeover, they're expanded. They're legends now,
except for Son of Dathomir, the Darth Maul comic on Dark Horse. That is officially canon. But
because you had the Quinlan Voss character in that, and then they ended up putting him in a couple episodes of Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. Technically, all the stuff that happens in that comic doesn't count anymore. I mean, they have that novelization with him and Asajj Ventress.
Oh, that's canon.
That's canon. But all the other comics, so it goes away, but he's still the same character. So there's probably a lot of
And there's rumor Quinlan Voss might be in the Han Solo film.
Oh, that'd be that's right.
Well. Yeah,
that's
we talked about that. That was a long time. It was like a year ago.
Yeah.
But that's news that kind of was forgotten, and one of our viewers mentioned it on a comment the other day, and I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That's right. And then whether or not that's true, we have no idea.
Yeah.
But Paul Bettany is playing Quinlan Voss. Could you imagine?
That'd be weird to have Paul Bettany not dressed up as something. He very rarely isn't wearing some kind of...
Someone told me that he's not playing... He's the same character as Michael K. Williams.
Right.
But he's not an alien like Michael K. Williams was supposed to be. I guess I don't know if that's accurate. I have no idea. Don't take my word for it. But this is what somebody brought to my attention. Another thing that came out just a couple of days ago before we did the rundown for this show was the runtime for Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, Attack of the Clones. Speaking of Attack of the Clones, that was the longest Star Wars movie to date at 142 minutes.
Wow.
The Last Jedi runtime, Brock, 150 minutes. 8 minutes longer than Attack of the Clones. What say you?
About the runtime of Last Jedi?
Attack of the Clones. How great it... No, yeah. The runtime of...
So it's 2 hours and 20 minutes?
I think that's 2.5 hours right on the dot.
2.5 hours?
Yeah, that's 2.5 hours right on the dot. So whether or not that's a complete accurate time or if they're just rounding it up for us at this point, who knows? But it's 2.5 hours on the dot.
I have no problem with it because I love Star Wars. So you could give me 6 hours of Star Wars, I will watch it. Side Akbar, apparently it would take you 7 days or something like 5 to 7 days or something like that to watch all the Marvel movies. I read that recently. But anyway, back to Star Wars. It doesn't bother me. I'm a fan, so whatever. But I do know that people hate long movies. That's what's scaring some people away. I don't want to say the new model of the epic movie or the action or the blockbuster movie. They're all 2-hour movies. I can't remember. There's one movie I was like, wow, this is long. It's great, but it is long. And perfect example, Batman versus Superman. Everyone's major complaint is this movie is long. So it's I don't want people to crap on Star Wars for that.
Well, I think Batman and versus Superman, v Superman.
Yeah.
BVS Dawn of J. D of DOJ. That's the title. That movie is long, but it's slow. Right?
Yeah.
I guess it's slow. I don't know.
Well,
I actually am one of the people that like it.
I like it too, so it's like
slow. But I think it's slow and it's dark and it's moody. Whereas I think Star Wars is going to be action-packed for the most part.
Yeah, no. Like it's
so it'll feel quicker.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was saying this to you before. Like Lord of the Rings, I prefer the long versions of Lord of the Rings. But it takes me like 2 days to watch them. Yeah. I don't watch them in one sitting. But there's more in it. I hate long movies. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't say hate. Half the time I go see a movie, and it's long for the sake of being long. There's nothing to it. Like, okay, you know what? You want to make a movie, you want to tell a story. You don't need to tell 2.5 hours, 3 hours to tell a good story.
Right.
You can do that in an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. It's been done before, so you can call me a liar, but it's been done. I've seen it done. We've all seen good movies that are short. This one, there so many questions need to be answered, and there are going to be so many more questions raised.
Exactly.
That this is the middle one, and the one previous to this that was longest was Attack of the Clones, which was the middle one. Yeah. And then before that was Return of the Jedi, and then Empire Strikes Back, and then New Hope. But that's a completely different era and everything. Mm-hmm. I just feel like right now, I think 2.5 hours is what obviously this is going to have to be to raise new questions and answer the questions they have and be fulfilling, because, people crap on The Force Awakens so much now that this one needs to relinquish that.
Yeah, no, I can agree on that because, you get, everybody wants answers. Well, we're going to get 2.5 hours, so they're going to answer something, or at least they're going to build the characters more, which they got to do. I mean, I love Force Awakens, but I can agree that, like, you don't learn a lot about our new characters.
Yeah.
Which is okay, because, like, Star Wars is throw you in the action. It's just, I find it funny. We do live in a world where basically you spend 3 hours at the movie. If you go see a movie, when you go there, you get your stuff, you sit down, da-da-da. And then when you leave, like up watching the movie and then leave, it's like you're going to be there for about 3 hours. It's funny how people complain about that when we live in a time of binge Netflixing.
Yeah.
Where you could probably watch a whole season in a day. Maybe it's 10 episodes, but they're going to be at least 30 minutes. What's 30 times 10? I don't know math. But you know what I mean? It's 5 hours, right? Like, you're spending 5 hours, but it's not the issue with the length of the movie. It's the fact that you have to sit in a theater seat for however long. If you're at home, you can move around and what have you. You do whatever you want. You can start talking in the middle if you want to. I think that's people's major problem with it. I mean, if the story's not great, then it's going to be brutal. But, like, we kind of live in a time where there isn't a ton of shitty movies. I mean, everyone's going to disagree with me because, like, oh, this movie sucks. But, like, that's opinion. Like, there's more movies, period.
Yeah, exactly right. So, I mean, the more of anything, the better chance there's crap. I love Dunkirk, but my least favorite experience in the theater so far was in front of Dunkirk when I had to sit through 20 minutes of terrible old trailers. There was nothing new, and it was trailers for movies that had newer trailers, and they were still the old trailers. And I was just sitting there like, holy crap, I saw this in front of Star Wars in December. I saw this 6 months ago in front of it. If that happens in front of The Last Jedi, which I don't suspect it will because they're going to pay top dollar to get your trailer. But at the same time, they're going to pile on trailers as well. So they're going to turn that 2.5 hour movie experience into a 2 hour, 50-minute movie experience. I forgot about the trailers. And you're going to get and if you go to see it at the midnight showing, you're not getting out until 3, 4 in the morning. Yeah. The trailers in front of movies, they're fun to watch, but now there's commercials and trailers. Yeah. It's exhausting for me to sit through them. Like, Dunkirk was a short film. So that was, so the trailers felt even longer because the film was shorter. Like, I just remember sitting in the theater and I turned to Aaron and I was like, what are we watching? Like, I forgot what was going on.
Did you guys see, you must have seen that in VIP then.
VIP.
I found something interesting when we went to see it. Like, I got there late and we were ordering the food and all that. but they were already showing trailers while we were sitting there. So it's like, it felt like we got more trailers, if that makes sense.
Well, they do. I think they do a little. They start them earlier because so they can bring you the food.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, but they don't. I can't remember. I feel like I have seen it,
but it was
I don't remember like the like little fun quiz stuff.
Yeah, they do that. So there's a pre-show. And it's there.
Oh, it is.
And every like your time play, because in Canada we have, I don't know if you haven't seen, but we have time play where you win.
Yeah.
Where you win gravy half the time. I won once, and I won a thing of gravy for free with my fries if I bought fries, and I came in first and 50 scene points, and you need like 2,000 to get a movie ticket. Anyway.
No, for VIP.
Yeah, well, but you're paying more. But anyway, it's 1,000 otherwise. Yeah. It's 50 scene. What the hell's a 50 scene points? I don't want that. But anyway. They do all that in the pre-show, like it's all combined now into one giant thing.
So, like,
but you came really late though.
Yeah, but maybe that's just a different experience in the video. I can't remember.
No, when we saw,
I'm gonna make note of it. But
when we saw Planet of the Apes, there was a lot of shows too.
Yeah.
There's just too many. Look, the longer the movie, though, they should not show. When I saw Scary Movie 2. I saw it in. I can't remember what theater I saw it in.
When did that come out again?
Like 2002. I worked at a movie theater. I got it for free.
Were you still living at home? Or were you living?
Oh yeah, I was in college. I was just. It was the summertime, and I worked at the theater, so I was living at home, and I got free tickets. So we went, but we couldn't go in the theater I worked at. So like, you can go to this theater. Here's a ticket, and I drove to the theater. And the way that theater operated was the movie started at like 7:50 at night. The trailer started at 7:30.
Wow.
So it would go, and then all of a sudden 7:50 hit, and the movie started. And I was like, it's like a soccer match, football match. I'm like, what is happening? It was bizarre. I liked it though. I liked that the way they do that. Then you can't be late for the movie.
Yeah.
Because people show up 5 minutes to the movie, and then they ruin the Batman versus Superman trailer that I watch in front of the new movie that just came out. But I've noticed that Planet of the Apes. I thought there was a lot of ads too. Not Dunkirk though was by far the most amount of trailers in front of a film I have experienced in a long time.
Insane.
It was weird. It was like normal amount. I thought it's still a lot. Like it's still a lot. Don't get me wrong. But at least it didn't feel like it was dragging like the other one did. Like Dunkirk was just. It hit a point. I was like, this is. Oh my god, we're not gonna get to the theater today. Thank goodness that movie. Anyway, we're talking about Star Wars.
But yeah, I'm okay with that length. I feel like Star Wars is now taking the role of the Hollywood epic. What used to be like, stuff like Ten Commandments and Cleopatra, where it's like they put all this money in it and it's just a huge thing. People go and they understand. We're not seeing. It's like Lord of the Rings to an extent. It's like we're seeing a long movie. That's just how it is. Like, yeah. We're not going to go see what's a movie that's in theater right now. That's just a normal movie. We're not seeing Kingsman and going to sit there for 3 hours. You know what I mean? So I'm okay with it. It seems crazy long, but
2.5 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
That is long. And it has the least amount of wipes in any other Star Wars film ever. Shame on you, Rian Johnson, and my popping of the mic. Yeah. Shame. I'm okay with you know what, jury's out for me on the length until I see it. How's that? I mean, it might need 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times when I watch a 2.5 hour movie. You know what movie could have been 10 minutes? Flight. Have you ever seen Flight with Denzel Washington?
Yeah.
That could have been a short film. It could have won Best Short Film. He would have won Best Actor still. They didn't win it, but he would have been nominated still. But that could have been an 11-minute movie. No question.
Yeah, it's just like you see the scene where he flies the plane and
then he goes to court.
It's like 1 year later, he's like, I'm on drugs.
But I'm not even joking. Robert Zemeckis could have done an 11-minute film, and we all would have loved it.
My parents saw that movie, and they're like, could have had less cursing. So, just takes you out of it. I'm like, okay.
I don't remember. I have that movie. I got that movie for free. I can't remember how. I can't remember. I just remember watching it being like, this could have been a short film. Yeah. So for me, the jury is out on The Last Jedi. I'm fine with it because I love Star Wars, so I'm going to sit there and enjoy every minute of it. But how many times am I going to watch it? Because it's 2.5 hours.
It would be amazing if, like, someone started a boycott of it. We will boycott it because it's too long. I'm like, what? You don't have that control. So,
Well, maybe we'll find out if Leia Organa is in fact the chosen one.
Ooh.
I don't know if you read this.
I did not.
Okay.
Well, I read it on the rundown.
Well, I haven't read this book because the book comes out on Thursday, October 3rd or 4th. It's the 40th anniversary, different point of view.
From a different point
of view book.
Which is going to be awesome.
If you're at New York Comic-Con, you can get that cool cover of it. But there's, a million different authors have written in this. A million is the actual number.
Yeah.
1 million authors. They've written in this book. But one of the book's stories, Yoda apparently believed that Leia was the chosen one.
Right. Yes, I read that. Interesting. Because Obi-Wan appears as a ghost. And says we have to start. You get prepare for one of the Skywalkers to show up. It's like, oh, when should she be here? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Like, I am very excited. Like, this is one of the few situations where I want to buy this in multiple forms of media because the audiobook has a lot of, like John Hamm's going to be Boba Fett, right? So, like, that's interesting. As always, with something we hear about Star Wars, it's like, there's not a ton of information. It's just telling you, which is very, very cool. But at the same note, it's like, okay, then what's the rest of the story? Like, it's like, we're going to put Obama in Spider-Man. Oh, that's amazing. Let's go buy that comic. And it's just like, hey, Spider-Man, let's fight villains. Okay, cool. Like, there's nothing happens, but like you drop one little piece of information and then people get like, oh, it's like, for all we know, like, it might not be that engaging of a story. I want it to be.
I read the excerpt from one of the stories and it threw me off.
Why?
I will say, I honestly, I can't remember. I think it was I want to say Palpatine was talking, and it was like a dialogue,
right? And
it wasn't right. Like, it didn't feel like Palpatine talking.
Yeah,
it was like almost too hip.
Interesting.
It was weird. I was like, this isn't how he talks. It threw me. It took me out of it. Like, I was like, this. I'm still gonna get the book and read it and check it out if I ever finish Phasma. And well, now I got a mini Super Nintendo. So there goes my Phasma reading time. You gotta be playing Mario Kart.
This from the guy is like, I like to play 20 minutes of video games.
The Super Nintendo was like the era of 20-minute video games.
Yeah, but there's more than 20 minutes in a day.
Yeah, but you play for 20 minutes, then you chill out for another 20, and then you play for 20 minutes, then you chill out for 20. Then you go
Nintendo, Phasma. Nintendo, Phasma.
No, I'm married,
Donkey Kong, Phasma. Mario Kart, Phasma. Hold on a second. Like, let me make my point. Earthbound, then Phasma, then Street Fighter, Phasma, then Aaron, okay? For like 5 minutes, and then you go back to Phasma.
I go for a walk every day. You don't understand.
I go for a walk.
I go like a few hours.
The sun.
I walk around for a few hours, headphones in, just walk around like this.
I sing the soundtrack to Hamilton, the Broadway musical.
True story, have never heard the Hamilton soundtrack.
Oh, you should.
The most I've ever heard is, that's what you say, that's what Andrew Fantasia says. Yeah. The most I've ever heard of it is when we were in line at Star Wars Celebration and Andrew started singing it. That is the most. And then that guy behind us talked about how he had 900 X-Wing Luke pilots from Hasbro.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got 4 of them today. I'm going to get 4 tomorrow. If you're listening.
Oh, yeah. You are the worst.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I just win every draw.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, solid. 6 in the morning.
Seriously. All I wanted was a pin.
Yeah.
By the way, Derek Laughlin made, I believe, 4 more for New York City Comic Con. There's a Jawa. Looks wicked. I don't know who the other 3 are, but there's a Jawa, and apparently you can buy it online. Check it out. They look awesome. I might buy them if I get employed, but I spent all my money on my mini Super Nintendo. I saved up for 6 months to get it. I was like, oh! I paid in coins. We don't have many coins here. Anyway, I'm really excited for the book. I think it's cool that they brought that up about Leia and
I'm very interested in seeing that. Reading it.
I really want to know if the author, he or she, delves further into that. Like, why would Yoda think it would be the female Skywalker?
Yeah, I can't remember what's. It would have been what you sent me. So I don't. Yeah, it doesn't really mention anything like that. How did it drop again? Like, why?
I typed in Star Wars and it said.
No, I know that part. But like, why was the art? Well, why was it revealed? Like, who?
I think they're just dropping
just hints.
Yeah, and I think people have read it. Like they've sent it out to like critics and stuff.
Yeah.
Hit us up, and so people have read and be like, oh, check this out. You should. I'm going to spoil it for you.
I love everything about this novel.
Really cool
short story anthology. Like, it's exactly what we need because we want to fill in those gaps. And that's a thing I'll talk about a little bit later in the show too. Like, I think it's exactly what we need right now. So
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
When does the Luke Skywalker novel?
End of the month, like the 27th or
Gotcha.
something. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Vancouver City, Van City.
What?
And I'm gonna hopefully buy it there.
Sweet.
On my ebook. Because it doesn't really
on
matter.
your cabot.
On my cabot. Because it doesn't really matter if it. I don't do hardcovers. Because I can have 900 books and it's that thin, like this. Whatever. This is where I read comics now. So I have another question for you. Do you think it would have been smart for Disney / Lucasfilm to not start at episode 7, to start at episode 10, and then have the ability to go back and tell us 7, 8, and 9 later?
Oh, so like.
Kind of like
10,
4.
The actual story. Oh, I see. Skip the trilogy.
Yeah. So skip 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
And be like, we're at 10, 11, 12.
Interesting.
I mean, and 10, 11, 12 could be the story of 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. I like the idea of messing with people yet again, but at the same note, like, then if we didn't do that, assuming that 10, 11, 12 are about new characters, not so much the old regime, then if we had done that, we wouldn't have had Carrie Fisher in any of the movies. Because we would have passed Force Awakens, right? Is that what you're asking?
Well, yeah, she wouldn't be able to be in 7, 8, and 9, but she could be in 10 and 11.
Right. Well, in my head, I assume that once 9 is done, we no longer see. Well, obviously, we don't see Harrison Ford anymore. We don't see Luke. Or Mark Hamill, and we don't see Leia / Carrie Fisher. That in my head, that's how it works. I feel like this trilogy is a passing of the baton. So
yeah,
I'm all for having them in them, but now Harrison Ford, Han Solo is dead. I don't know why I laughed at the end of that. And Carrie Fisher has passed on, so like we can't really do Leia. I mean, we also live in a world where we can CG anything into existence. So,
how would you feel about this, Brock? Mm-hmm. Disney announces tomorrow the next standalone film, Old Republic.
Perfect.
We're going to go back. We're going to do Old Republic. You sit in the theater for the Old Republic movie in 2021, 2020, whenever the hell it is.
Yeah.
You sit in the theater like this. Star Wars hits the screen. Yeah. You're like, this is different from Rogue One and Han Solo and Obi-Wan. This is starting like an old school Star Wars film. But then the crawl has come, and you're like, whoa, there's a crawl.
Yeah.
Episode 4. Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Goes up. How do you feel about that?
So it's called Episode 4, even though A New Hope is Episode 4?
Well, it would be like a different rebrand episode. Look, just go with it. The episode minus... You know what I mean? Like, but
Episode 4A.
Like, they make it clear that this is a new saga.
Yeah.
Star Wars saga. And this is the midway point once again.
Oh, I see. So we're not in the counting of... Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So I don't know what they would... I don't know what they call it. It's show 4? I don't know. Book 4? You know what I mean? But
chapter 4.
Chapter 4. They start in the middle.
Yeah.
And then they go 4, 5, 6 again. And then go back 1, 2, 3.
I mean, for that, but it almost seems like, well, that's what you did originally. Like, you know, I mean, obviously when A New Hope came out, it wasn't called A New Hope. It was just called Star Wars. And then later it was added. I mean, it wasn't really revealed that, like, we were in the middle of something until Empire came out and it was Chapter 5, right? But again, like, I'm trying not to be difficult on your question. It's just... Yeah, if we were to do Knights of the Old Republic series, it's like chapter 4, and you're like, what about 1, 2, and 3? It's like, haha, we gotcha. Like if you enjoy the movie, then like yeah, you can wait for another 20 years to finally get all of them in a row or whatever like that.
But what if they did like 4, 5, 6, and then in 6 something is discovered in 6, and then they go back, kind of like what I think I hope they do with Snoke. I don't know, but then they go back 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 is just about that last little bit that you found out at the end of 6, and the whole thing is actually about that.
Right.
Kind of like Palpatine and thing, because like the thing is, you can go 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and that makes so much sense. But how, like when you go back, how far back can you go and how far back can you continue to go? At some point, you have to say, this is the beginning of it all. But are you going to tell the story of the beginning of it all? Are people going to be interested in the beginning of it all?
Right.
I think that might work better as a book. But you know what I mean? So if you go back, you're like, okay, we're going to start here and we'll just go up. But then you raise the point, how you call them chapters, but they're not. That doesn't really work for a movie. I mean, it does and it doesn't. But then you can't call it episode 4, obviously, because you have an episode 4, 5, and 6. So how do you differentiate against that and keep it?
Actually, yeah, you might be right. It might be episodes instead of chapters. I like it. I feel, like I said, like it's already been done, technically. But
that could be the Star Wars thing. Like middle, beginning.
But what you're saying, how like the end of the 3 movies, there's something happens, and it's like, oh, this all pertains to something that happened prior to it, and then you do a trilogy on that.
And then you do the trilogy on that, and then after that, you continue.
There you go. You
from there, so you keep going forward.
Interesting. I feel
the thing is, what is Star Wars? What is the Star Wars niche storytelling mode? Is it just going 1, 2, 3, 4, or are you going to continue to tell us a story, but tell us the middle of a story and have us intrigued and hope to learn the beginning of that story? Right.
I feel, as you're describing that, in my head it popped in like a series popping into your head, an elaborate one, like maybe something on HBO or like a show like Sons of Anarchy or maybe Game of Thrones. Not really the best choice, but like more like grounded in realism sort of thing, where like you have a whole season where you have to deal with a problem, and then obviously by the end it's resolved. And then at the last little bit, there's doesn't always, but sometimes there's a little hook. Then you're like, and now this is what's gonna happen next year. So it's like we've ended, but here you go. Not really what you're describing because it's still going chronologically, but like I think that's kind of what you're saying. Like if you had 3 movies and then yay, everything is good, and then oh, by the way, this happened. Oh, okay, yeah. The wheels are turning in my head. So you say you have a 3 story arc or 3 movie arc, and you're like, here's our characters. Yay, they vanquished evil. But then they're like, oh, because you vanquished this evil, this new evil has arisen. Because that evil was, I think we said this before, stopping the other evil. Like, who is this evil that came before? 3 movies. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So then you could essentially do prequels where it's like the hero you follow in that turns out to be the villain of the next 3, and then the next trilogy is our current day, our first group of heroes fighting that old evil. But again, I say that just sounds like the current trilogy. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say there was like a holocron or something, and then you find out
holocron.
Then you find out how that came to be, and then you find out its power, like that. I don't know. I'm just trying to think, like, how does Star Wars stay fresh?
Yeah.
And is the way to stay fresh go back to what it was originally?
Because like what I feel like I've just described is just typical plot, where like or in a sequential telling a plot in some type of sequential series, where it's like you vanquished the one problem, but you want to continue making a story. Well, this is a story, so there has to be a problem, so a new one arises. So it's like
the thing is, The Force Awakens kind of is. Not to compare it to A New Hope again, but in a way, like A New Hope, all the characters are somewhat established, right? Because Vader is Vader, but then we find out how he became Vader. Where now we don't get the opportunity in between 6 and 7 to find that out. But if you go back, you could. I don't know. I don't think they do that, but it's just, that was the unique thing about Star Wars, was that it started in the middle.
Yeah.
And do you just get rid of that?
Yeah. I would argue you could still have that feeling of being started in the middle. I mean, that's what the beauty of the crawl is. It's sort of like, here's the scene, go. But each episode, each first chapter in each trilogy always starts where like, here's some characters, this is how they meet, and then they do this, right? Luke, because the droids crash on Tatooine, they find Luke, who finds Obi-Wan, who finds Han, and Chewie, who finds the princess, who brings them to the rebellion. You know, like in Phantom Menace, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon have to like escape being almost blown up, land on Naboo.
Yep.
Yeah, which leads them to they don't get to Padme first. Yeah, it leads them to Jar Jar, but leads them to Padme, which leads them to going out in space because
Tatooine.
And then Tatooine, Anakin, pod race. I'm just explaining movies now, and then so Force Awakens is the same thing, right? To an extent. But I get what you're gonna try to get. It's like, how do we keep it fresh, or do we need it to be fresh? I mean, yes, in a sense, like it's nice to have new things, but like we don't know much about Rey, we don't know much about Poe, and we don't know much about Finn.
The question is, should you always leave the opening open? Is another way to look at it.
Yeah.
Should you just close like this is the beginning? Or should you be like, no, this happened somewhere in the middle or something? But how do you portray that without using episode numbers now? Oh, I don't know. Snoke
What a
One.
quandary. Like, what a quandary.
I think what you do with Old Republic is you call it maybe like year one. Like instead of a chapter or episode number, you put like year one. Or you just put number one.
Yeah.
Date one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's move on. What do you guys think? Let us know down below if you guys have any opinions, because this is a hot topic.
Never tell me the hot odds.
Never tell me the odds are not brought to us by anybody. YouTube, so freaking chill on your nonsense, man.
Yeah.
Jeez, they sent me an email saying that we've won every single one that they've reviewed.
Of course.
Because it's just us talking. I'm wearing a shirt that we made.
Yeah.
You're wearing a shirt that you made.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, first odd, the odds of clone troopers appearing in the Obi-Wan film.
75%, just because I want it to happen. I just want it to happen. Like, you're gonna put in anything, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 109%. It probably won't happen because they're like, no prequels.
Yeah,
but I'm going because I want it to happen.
Yeah, like.
And you can see like the true evolution of the clone trooper to the stormtrooper.
And I always like that about seeing the clones in Clone Wars and then Rebels. Like them. One of my favorite episodes of Rebels is when they meet Rex
clones?
and Gregor and Wolf.
Yeah.
And there's the one episode in Clone Wars where they find a clone that's completely forgotten who he is or whatever. Like, I like that idea of them without their armor and then being mixed into, like, general population.
One of my favorites is when the clones fight the droids.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like it. In the Rebels.
In the Rebels
show. Next on the odds of Revan being brought into canon.
I'm going to go high, 80%. Just because I feel like maybe not as a character, like a solid character, but like I feel like they have to drop him in something. Have they not done anything yet? Didn't we see him in something?
He was almost in Clone Wars, but they never made the cut.
Right.
And he hasn't really been anything. I'm going to go full Brock.
Wow, fitty.
The reason being is because I feel like Kylo Ren or Rey could be playing on that trope, right? And if you do that, why would you also have Revan if they're the new Revan?
Right.
But if they're not, then 100% he's going to be showing up. That's the way I look at it.
It's amazing how entrancing of a story that a video game for the original Xbox.
You have them both.
Yes, they're right behind us. They're fantastic games. Not really playable now, but like just so good. So Yeah, they got to put him back.
Our final one, if you guys watched the video I did with Andrew a few days ago, last week on Collider Jedi Council, there was a heated debate over whether or not this is it. So, Brock, I will ask your opinion. The odds of Snoke being a bust.
No.
And that's our show.
I watched videos that I'm not in, so I was a little unsure. Like, when you see bust, do you mean like a physical bust, like he's just a statue, or that the character is like it's not as great as
not
as
great?
Yeah, okay.
Because what they brought up on that show was that his pop figures aren't selling very well or something like that. So they were like, "Is he a bust?" and blah blah. And Andrew and I talked about it. And for me, I'm gonna go 0% of him being a bust.
Yeah,
I think he's got something cool planned out.
Oh yeah.
Unless, of course, you've seen the picture of his figure disrobed.
We're disrobed.
Wow. That is freaky.
So
I hope he just walks around like that. Leia!
He's one of those guys that leaves his gown open at all times. I'm going to go 100% too, because I'm like... I trust Andy Serkis' judgment on what kind of roles he plays, and I think he would know. He would be a person.
Yeah, I think they didn't have him completely figured out, but I think they had enough of him figured out. Yeah. Because how are you going to get, hey, Andy Serkis, you want to come in and do this? It's 2 seconds. You're the big bad guy. Yeah. We don't really know what's up with them. Exactly. You have nothing to draw from in your performance. I think
you get to do whatever you want, but like, he's probably staying pretty aware because he has to. I mean, all actors have to create their characters. But he has to think a lot about like how his character is going to work because of the body work he does or whatever. Or mocap. There's a slightly difference to it. I'm going to go 100%. What was I going to say? Yeah, no, I don't judge the merit of a character by how low the action figures are being sold. I mean, it's like his head looks like a shriveled scrotum.
From what I've seen, I go to the store and I see every Black Series figure that came out on Force Friday still available. I haven't been to Disney Store, but they had tons of Elite Series still available from the ones that came out on Force Friday. Yeah. Porg Funko Pops, not Pogs. Porg.
Oh yeah.
Pops, BB9E Pops. Snoke Pops, DJ Pops,
I was
Luke with a backpack
this morning. I saw all of them.
Yeah, the Luke with the backpack, which I thought would be hard to find everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone is easy to find. So I wouldn't. Anyway, that's in Canada, which we never have anything here, but now we have everything. Yeah. So that's the way I looked at it. But that's enough. Snoke's not a bust. Moving on. What's up, Star Wars?
What's up, Star Wars? We kind of already did this, but let's check anyways because everything drops while we're online or while we're recording.
I did Google it, and oops, I hit something by accident, and this popped up. Star Wars Rebels reveals its final season storyline and new episode synopsis from Digital Spy. So let's see if this is something. This was posted on the 29th of September, 2017, which I believe is today. Mm-hmm. The season. Okay. Here are the titles. Okay, we know the 6 titles because that's what we found last week on the show or 2 weeks ago. Season 4 was confirmed to be the final. Okay, there's nothing new here. There's nothing new here, Brock. This is just the episode titles, and they're saying that it gives away the entire storyline. So that is false. You got anything?
I'm still looking. I opened a work email. That was a huge mistake. When I type in Star Wars Jizz Whaler, it comes up immediately because we searched it last week.
Liam Neeson talks possible Star Wars return. I'm not going to even click on that.
Star Wars plans to continue Boba Fett's stories. Watch more digital work when it's the creation of Rogue One. New look at Snoke proves villain is female.
That's expressed that you... Is that because the underwear?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, Snoke, at one point, they were saying it was going to be a female, but I don't understand why you would get Andy Serkis to play a female. Like, that would draw hate, I think. Like, people would hate you.
Especially...
And we're still on that graphic.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, people would hate them in this day and age right now, where everything's so sensitive. Like, that is a mistake and a half. So
Here's a cool little story. Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds' personal belongings are set to be sold at auction. Where's the date? At some point. Probably later in the article. But it's if you've watched what was it called? Bright Lights? Which is a documentary about their relationship. Carrie Fisher has a very, very interesting house. So there's a lot of stuff there, but it said right here, rare script from The Empire Strikes Back, estimated to go for $30,000 to $50,000 for just like her original script, which would be one, amazing because it's original. Two, if it's hers that she used, she probably wrote notes on it.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. But the reason I bring up the cool items is that there's a statue, I believe, that she had in her house, and you can see in it, it's a telephone box. Yeah, hold on, let me get closer. You can kind of see that. It's a telephone box with a almost lifestyle size statue.
Email me that, and I'll put it on the Facebook page
of like a cartoon version of sexy Leia from the whatever. I'm pretty sure that was in it. And the script. That's a picture of the script. It's like a leather-bound book. Wow. Of not Empires. That's the original Star Wars. So that's kind of neat. I don't know. That's just a fun little thing. Yeah, I don't see much else besides that.
Oh, there's new Forces of Destiny half-hour specials, October 1st and October 9th.
Oh, yeah?
You can check them out on Disney XD. Yeah, but not that. I just read that before, but that's nothing big. You like the Forces of Destiny?
Yeah, I did.
I think they're going more. Apparently, Finn's going to be showing up, Han Solo, Chewbacca in this one. I still think they should focus on Poe. I'm going to say it on tomorrow's Rebels too, but that's what I think. But who am I? Do you have a book this week?
I don't. I didn't have time to go to the comic book store.
That means we're moving on to
Holo News. This is the sound of my voice.
Live from Coruscant.
This is the sound of my voice. All right, hold on. Let me get my notes out. Today in the news, we have stories about Star Wars. So, a whole bunch of school books were removed from schools in Saudi Arabia, I believe, because a picture of Yoda and the late King Faisal was used in the books a bunch of times, and I think the cover was a picture of Yoda sitting beside King Faisal, and that was sort of a big deal because it kind of seemed disrespectful. But the artist who did it was doing it for I don't know if it was an assignment or just trying to be artistic. The point of doing it was to build a bridge between the young generation and major historic events by mixing pop culture and the U.S. movies into historic events. So, I mean, it's a fun pick, but yeah, if I was, a little conservative and I lived in, I assume this is Saudi Arabia, I might take it as a slam. Though, it's not, when you look at the picture, it's not like the character that they've added is sort of looking disrespectful. It's almost like I'm waiting for you to say something. Yoda kind of fits. It almost looks real. So I don't know. I get it, but it's kind of funny that happened.
My favorite story.
Tamora Morrison wants to play live action Rex. We talk about him all the time. We talked about it today. The character of Captain Rex has gone in from Clone Wars to Rebels. He looks older, so if they were to put him in a movie, they could do it because Tamora Morrison is a little older than he was when he was in Attack of the Clones, and then later as all the clones in Revenge of the Sith. I think that was great. I would love to see it. I love the character of Captain Rex, so he would do it. So what movie would he be in? I don't know.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, but I guess
that's the only movie coming out he could be in.
Yeah, because he probably would be dead if it was after Return of the Jedi. So although he's supposed to be in Return of the Jedi.
Look. No, but the only movie they're making right now that we know of is that, unless a Boba Fett film, it could be in. That would be a cool angle to play, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Where am I? So Mark Hamill is a little stressed out about Last Jedi because it's for him, his experience right now, it's a lot different from the original trilogy, where, like, Star Wars has been popular for a while, but you can argue that movies today, how it all works is a lot higher. Like, they make more money, and, like, the whole idea of franchising things. So he said he's stressed out about how people are going to receive his role in it. It's intimidating and terrifying because there's been 40 years of like live speaking of Luke Skywalker, and now this December we're gonna hear his voice again for the first time. So, I'm not worried because Mark Hamill is an excellent actor, especially in his characters that he's done. Joker from Batman in the animated series. I think it'll be fantastic. He understands the character because he created that character. But of course, it's sort of like, oh man, like this is a big deal, so should be fine. But he also mentioned when he was talking about this in an interview that Rian Johnson apparently is the best director to work with because he didn't lose his mind, didn't belittle anyone on set. He was just calm all the time. So that's kind of nice to hear that, like, the director of the next movie was focused and like the person to work with.
I'm excited.
Next story.
2.5 hours.
Old Uncle Ron's at it again on Twitter. Emilia Clarke. I don't know why I forgot that. I love the Game of Thrones. Emilia Clarke has wrapped principal photography on Han Solo. And he tweeted a picture that you can see on the screen here that she's done and she did a terrific performance. So that's exciting. We're getting more and more people finishing up their roles. So I'm sure in the next few weeks we'll hear that Aaron Ehrenreich and I guess Woody Harrelson's still working on it because we haven't heard, he hasn't wrapped. So that must mean to me that like he's those are like Woody Harrelson's character must be pretty important. Oh, that's right. I mean, we know that her character is called Kira, and we've seen a lot of pictures from the set, which we think that she's in it, but we really don't know what Kira looks like or who she is. So hopefully, maybe we'll get some hints on that soon. I don't know. And also from old Uncle Ron, here's a picture of Lord knows what, but he tweeted this picture and said, "Can anyone translate this for me?" And it's, a couple characters on what looks like a piece of rock that's been carved out, something you would see on like something very, very old, like a pyramid or something like that. And then in the hashtag, he hashtagged McQuarrie, which, as we know, is reference to Ralph McQuarrie.
I have to interview.
Yeah, go ahead. There's not much to the story.
On Twitter, when he tweeted that.
Yeah.
So, there was I read the thread, and the thread's going, and people are like, "Go Ron," blah blah. And one of them said, I can't remember what they said exactly. So they put at Ron Howard and at Chris McQuarrie, the writer director of Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, and he's written like every movie, and he just goes, "Wrong McQuarrie." Hi Ron. I thought that was great.
That's awesome. So maybe that's interesting. Maybe there's some link to something Ralph McQuarrie did. I don't know. Maybe this is in one of his drawings. It's exciting. I hope to get the answer of what it is sometime after the movie gets made. But whoever is telling Ron Howard what to tweet is doing an excellent job because I am in, and it is amazing. Next story. John Boyega narrates a very interesting featurette of Battlefront II where he shows off a little bit more gameplay that we haven't seen, showing off like the battles and then the space. It's not all space. The air. What do you call them? Spaceship battles. That's not even remotely right.
I cannot wait.
But it looks amazing. It's a really cool featurette. It shows you how like they've changed a lot of things from Battlefront 1 to Battlefront 2, and he also makes sure that the first free DLC that will come, I'm sure you have to pay for some of it, but Finn and Phasma will be. I don't know why. I feel like the mention of free, but it's like it's included. Who cares? So they will be part of the playable.
Well,
characters.
they mentioned the free because in the first Battlefront you had to pay for all that stuff. They were
Yeah.
the season
But you're
pass,
still gonna have to pay for DLC.
of course. But anyway, I'm not gonna get into how I feel about anything.
But definitely check it out. It's an awesome watch. Last story. There's a new animated show on the horizon. There's no information about it, but apparently Pablo Hidalgo mentioned that there's definitely something in the works and that we will hear something about it probably at the next celebration from Dave Filoni himself.
And I'm hoping it's all Jar Jar.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd be in for that.
Well, our top 5 this week are...
It could be called Growing Up Gungan.
Ooh, I like
Boom,
it.
sold.
I like it. Jar Jar.
Top 5.
Today's top 5 are top 5...
Animations.
Yeah, top 5 possible
animations, to be more precise.
What could the new animated show be about?
Yes.
I think we've got it. I don't know what your top 5 are, but my top 5 are definitely, none of them are going to happen. Brock, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is going to be Ahsoka. What happened to Ahsoka when she left the Jedi Council up until...
Oh, you're in between.
Yeah.
Funny enough, on Tomorrow's I Rebel, I talked to Andrew about that. Anyway.
That's not that funny.
I'm sorry, I'm Daryl Lewising this for you.
But like, yeah, I would like a continuation of something to link it to Rebels and Clone Wars. And Ahsoka's such a big character that like you could just make something about her and people will love it.
My number 5, the new droids. Here's the thing.
Oh,
It's like droids from the 80s.
Yeah.
With C-3PO, R2-D2, but now you have BB-8, Chopper, K2SO, BB, and like they could be like thwarting BB-9E for the whole time, and it would be so good. It would totally be for like 5-year-olds, but I'd be in.
and it's a simple take the premise of Heroes of Tomorrow, where you just pluck all these random side characters from the different DC TV shows. You put them on a time-traveling spaceship, and they can just drop in and out. So that's how you get them all together.
Boom.
Boom.
Filoni, we're available.
Yeah.
Well, you work a lot, but I'm available. My number 4 is pod racing because I just love pod racing. The end. I want to see more pod racing. They have pod racing on Malice there.
Very fast. Very dangerous.
You must have... Anyway, go on.
My number 4 is Yoda.
Ooh,
There's a lot of talk of a live-action film, but... Oh, was I supposed to high-five you?
No, I want to just wait.
Oh, okay.
Like Rebels Yoda or like good-looking Clone Wars type Yoda?
I'm going to go young Yoda. Like his origin story.
No, but I mean, like, is he going to look terrible like he did in Rebels or good like he did in Clone Wars?
Oh, good. This is in Clone
Okay,
Wars.
good.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I understand that.
I'm worried about the animation, yeah.
But, yeah, no, I think it would be very interesting to hear his origin story of some sort. So I would love to see it as a movie, but because he's basically CG, just make it a cartoon. Like, it's just easier that way.
I agree with you. My number 3 would be The Rise of the First Order.
Ooh.
Kind of like Rebels, but on the opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun to watch. You can see Snoke kind of pulling the puppet strings. Hux works his way up. Kylo Ren maybe coming, like maybe Kylo Ren just enters. He's like, I'm the bad guy, because they won't tell us exactly how he turned, but this is right after he turns, and Hux doesn't trust him right away. And then you see how the kids that are being brought up to be that. It might be a little too dark and morbid because it's the bad guy side of it, but also they're brainwashed in a lot of ways too, where they think that they're not on the wrong side. Yeah. So you could tell it that way as well.
Yeah, because when's the next celebration? 2018 or 2019? 2019. So yeah, by that time, if we were to announce, we would have all 3 movies by then?
No.
Or about to get the third one?
We'll be like 6 months from the last one. 8 months from the last one.
Like episode 9?
Yeah.
Well, but like that celebration is just announcing it. It's not showing you
exactly,
episodes.
yeah.
So like, yeah, I could get behind that because by that point they will have told the saga, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. My number 3, right? Mm-hmm. My usual cop out. Let's do something about bounty hunters. Like, do it like the style in the sense of Forces of Destiny, where like you maybe have 4 episodes about Boba Fett, 4 episodes about Bosk, 4 more episodes about Bosk. Just all Bosk.
He's in Battlefront 2.
You could do something really cool with that. Like, so just take like Rebels, but just turn it on its head. It's like, here's the seedy underbelly of the galaxy. Boom. Which is basically Han Solo, probably.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is what happens between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
Well, that's Battlefront 2.
Yeah, but like follow Luke.
Which is also kind of a cartoon. Oh, yeah, follow Luke would be cool.
Yeah, so, but of course, that can't really come out till they've kind of finished what's
you never know. If you get enough information on The Last Jedi,
exactly.
You could probably do that. And Mark Hamill could voice it. That'd be sick.
Yeah, exactly.
My number 2, Dex's drive-through diners and dives.
Oh my god.
Dex just goes to different places and tries the food.
I just visualize him with Guy Fieri's hair.
His hair.
Oh my god.
What do you know? That's what I want. I want to watch that cartoon immediately.
Oh my goodness.
Dex's drive-through diners.
Somebody make that a shirt.
Yeah, please. And my number 1, Ewoks and Porgs. It's the meetup we've all been waiting for. People are sick of Porgs, apparently. I'm not. I don't know how you can't. Well, I think in America they have a lot more toys for for Porgs. But like here, like I've literally seen the one at Walmart for $45.
Yeah.
And the Pops.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's all I've seen. And people are like, I'm sick of. I'm like, where do you see them that you're so sick of them?
Yeah.
Other than forcing yourself to read it online and hearing other people online say they're sick of it. For me, I want to watch Ewoks and Porgs hang out together.
They always need something to hate. My number 1 is simple Knights of the Old Republic. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because, it might not work as a movie, or maybe it's too... I mean, it could work as a movie, or maybe it's just too hard for people to follow. But even if you retcon it, or you just stay with the old story, like, that would be an amazing thing to watch. So, let's do it.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. Unless they want to do that with a movie, but... I think Filoni is the perfect guy to be in charge of that storyline.
Because almost in a sense, it's like a whole new franchise.
Yeah.
It fits with Star Wars, but it's so different from the Star Wars that Yeah, I
think Filoni, though, more than anyone else at Lucasfilm, understands the lore the most like that, and I think he'd be the best for that. And that's I could get behind a show like that. It'd have to be a little darker maybe, but... I don't know where their head's at going forward. They have their streaming service, and this looks like this new cartoon will be for their streaming service. Oh. If you go by the date, 2019, right? It won't be announced till 2019. Their streaming service comes out in 2019. This is ready for 2020, late 2019, whatever.
Wow, we have to wait that long for a cartoon? Wow.
Well, Rebels ends at the end at mid 2018. Then you wait a year.
Yeah.
A year and a half. Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones. You just got to wait. Your list was a lot more realistic than mine, but I really want that Dex's Diners, drive-thrus, and dives.
That's amazing.
I just Dex.
Obi-Wan.
I would also go for like a two-tube show. Ben Quadraneros, but he'd be my pod racer show. I think Two Tubes would also be a pod racer. You'd find out. I've got it. It's working up here. Today was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We waited a long time to do it.
Yeah. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
No, it happens. Oh, well, this is... Oh, yeah, we forgot to say it. This is our 200th episode on the YouTubes.
Yay!
Oh, my God. Look at my elbow. I missed on purpose. 200...
Wow. We have 200 episodes of content on this channel.
But our 100th one, do you remember what our 100th episode was?
Yeah, I was seeing the trailer
reaction,
standing in front of a TIE fighter.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was a Star Wars celebration. Orlando, Florida.
Orlando Calrissian.
I can't wait. But yeah, 200 episodes on this channel. Thank you guys. It means a lot, especially when you comment and you like and you subscribe. And please like and subscribe. I should have said that off the top of the show, but I forgot.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much. The comments are my favorite part of posting any video is waiting for comments to come in.
Yeah.
I know I don't maybe talk that much on them, but like I love reading the comments.
They're great. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Brock, it's been a blast.
Yeah.
May the force of others be with you.
I have nothing clever to say.
Let's go play Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.